period. Période de questions. Senator Flett.
Thank you, Speaker. My question today is for the Leader of the Government in the Senate. And it concerns the coronavirus, which was declared a pandemic yesterday by the World Health Organization. Last night, Leader, the Trump administration announced a travel ban from much of Europe to the United States, which goes into effect Friday and will last for at least 30 days. This decision could not only impact those countries, but our own country as well. Leader, could you please tell us if the Government of Canada was informed in advance of the White House's announcement last night? What is the Government of Canada's response to this decision? Is there any consideration within your government of putting in place a similar ban, prohibiting European travelers from entering our country for a period of time? And have you assessed whether the U.S. would close its border to Canada if we don't bring forward such travel restrictions? Is that being discussed with the Americans?
Senator Gold.
Thank you, Senator, for the questions. This is such a fast-moving situation that I will not have all the answers to all of your questions. I am advised the Canadian government is in regular contact with its American counterparts and indeed others to both understand the measures that other countries are putting into place and to advise them of the measures that we are putting into place as well. With regard to your question about a travel ban within Canada, the position of the government remains that this is not an advisable situation for Canada to adopt. And they do so and the government of Canada, notwithstanding that other countries have done so, not only the United States, Australia, and others. But the Government of Canada's position is that the decision must be made in the best interest of the public health of Canadians. And in terms of what the best evidence tells us, including the recommendations of the World Health Organization, notwithstanding that it has been described, that the situation is now considered a pandemic, it is not in the public interest or in the interest of Canadian health to seal our borders through the device of a travel ban. It runs against the best advice of medical experts in the field, and it may also run afoul of international obligations that Canada has assumed under the appropriate regulations. So for the moment, and the government is monitoring the situation by the minute, hour, and day, I am not advised of any plans to change the government's position with respect to travel bans.
So, of course, any European wanting to travel to the United States need only come to Canada and travel there from here, and we will be implicated in helping them come to the United States. Leader, your government has repeatedly assured Canadians that proper screening is taking place at our airports. Yesterday afternoon, after Air Canada's last flight from Italy until May landed at Trudeau Airport in Montreal, passengers reported that no one had been screened upon landing. No one asked them questions in Montreal. They had simply been handed a piece of paper with coronavirus information. Leader, some of these passengers had come from northern Italy, which had been a major center of the spread of coronavirus. This is a very serious matter. Canadians expect our government to lead on this. Does your government consider what happened at the Trudeau Airport yesterday to be adequate? And if not, what are you going to do to improve the health screening at our airports?
Senator Gold.
Again, thank you for your question, and thank you for underlining the concern that all of us as Canadians feel in the face of this growing challenge. I have been advised, however, that enhanced screening and detection processes are being added at all international airports, and that would include Trudeau in my hometown, as well as at land, border, ferry, and rail ports of entry. And I'm also advised that Border Services, CBSA agents, are visually inspecting all travelers for signs of illness and do and will refer them to appropriate authorities where required. In that regard, the CBSA is working in close cooperation with the Public Health Agency of Canada to implement and operationalize best practice. And with regard, if I may add one final comment, with regard to the challenge or the merits of a travel ban, I would only quote Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Theresa Tam, who noted recently, and I quote, "As the number of countries increases, border measures are less effective and less feasible, so trying to focus on one country versus another can be much less reasonable as an approach or effective."